Koops, and welcome to another video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about a subject that is coming up very soon. And that subject is E3. E3 is right around the corner. This is probably the biggest moment of the gaming season. All of gaming's biggest names are going to be there. Sony, Microsoft, Konami, but most importantly, Nintendo. Nintendo, from what I can tell, they have a pretty good lineup for this year. They have pretty much the same thing going on that they have done for the past couple of years at this point. They have 2 invitational tournaments, and of course the thing that we're looking the most forward to, the Nintendo Live presentation. Since E3 is coming up, I thought, why not make a series out of it? This is my Nintendo E3 series. I'm going to be uploading a video every 2 weeks coming up to Nintendo's E3 presentation, and heck, maybe even some videos afterwards concerning Nintendo at E3. So, in today's video, I'm going to kind of give my thoughts and give my opinions on what I think is going to come out of Nintendo this E3. So these are going to be my predictions for Nintendo this coming E3. There aren't really any sort of limitations to these predictions. I tried to keep it as realistic as possible. A couple of these may be a little bit out of touch, but overall I think I kept it to the most likely chance of what would happen. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into my predictions for Nintendo this E3.
Nintendo!
So first off, I'm going to start off by listing my general predictions for Nintendo this year. I'm just kind of putting these predictions out there as just general opinions on stuff that Nintendo is doing, not necessarily related to software, but stuff that kind of relates to Nintendo in the long run. So first off, I'm predicting that all of the games that have specific release titles will more than likely be out by spring 2019. Nintendo last year had a pretty solid amount of games announced. Most of them actually are released right now. Super Mario Odyssey, Samus Returns was released last year as well. The Kirby game was released. We're still waiting on Metroid Prime 4 and Yoshi 2018, but we'll hopefully get to those this year. But pretty much out of those titles that were announced last year, all of them were pretty much released at this point. So going into E3 this year, I'm kind of expecting sort of the same thing. So next up, and lastly for my general predictions, I am predicting a Switch hardware update, either slightly before or slightly after E3. Since Nintendo is now putting more games onto the Switch, I'm assuming that they're more than likely going to update the system to kind of just suit those games that they're now putting on the Switch. And since it's E3, I'm assuming that more than likely there's going to be some huge update for the Switch that would see a whole lot of changes coming to it. Hopefully it may allow for more third-party GameCube controller ports, because if not, I might not be able to play Smash 5, but hopefully that's something that comes into fruition. There's a lot more things I want for the Switch as far as the system update, but hopefully Nintendo addresses that. So now that I have my general predictions out of the way, I am going to go into predictions based around sort of pre-announced titles that were announced earlier this year or earlier last year. So first off, I think that Nintendo is going to put a large emphasis on Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4 is a very heavily hyped game right now, and there's a lot that a lot of people want to know because we haven't gotten anything of this game since we heard that it was coming to the Switch last year, other than the fact that we know the main development team behind it. So that's the only thing we know so far, and I think that this year Nintendo is going to really try to emphasize Metroid Prime 4 because it's something a lot of people want to know about. Personally, I'm not really that much of a Metroid fan, but I think that Metroid Prime 4 could be a very big game for Nintendo this year, and I think that Nintendo really needs to put emphasis on that to kind of hype it up a little bit, because right now we're still in the dark about Metroid Prime 4. So I think that we're definitely going to see more information. Next up, I am predicting that we are going to get more info on Yoshi 2018, Smash 5, and possibly the Bowser's Inside Story remake. So as far as these three titles go, we know that we're more than likely going to get more information on Smash 5 because we're seeing Smash 5 for the first time at E3. So we're more than likely going to see like the first original layouts of the game at E3 and everything. So more than likely we are going to get a lot more information about Smash 5. However, as far as Yoshi 2018 and Bowser's Inside Story remake go, I have no idea whether or not we're going to see more information on that. I'm actually guessing that we are, because Yoshi 2018 is another game that hasn't really seen that much information come from it. All we know is that it's a Yoshi game, and it's like has the pretty much same aesthetic as Woolly World, and kind of has a Paper Mario twist to it with the introduction of the kind of 3D flip mechanic. So I am excited to kind of see if Nintendo goes into more detail about that, because I really want to know some more information about this title, because it's one of the titles that I was really excited for coming out of 2017. So now switching over to the Bowser's Inside Story remake, I am predicting that we are going to see more information on the remake. Even though we got a pretty good synopsis of what we are going to see in the Nintendo Direct a couple of months ago, I'm predicting that we're going to see more at E3, because I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but I think it's a tradition that Nintendo talks about at least one Mario RPG at E3. Last year it was Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. Year before I think it was Color Splash, and year before that it was Paper Jam. So Nintendo kind of has a streak of talking about their Mario RPGs at E3. So I'm predicting that we're going to see more information about the Inside Story remake just off of that kind of fact alone. Next up, I am predicting that we are going to see finally the title announcement for the new Pokemon RPG. We were rumored to get a new Pokemon RPG at the last Nintendo E3. I don't know whether or not that was Detective Pikachu or not, but I'm thinking that it's not. So I think that we are more than likely going to see a title announcement for the new Pokemon RPG. We don't really know that much about it, other than the fact that it's in development and it's a Switch title. So we don't really know that much about the new game other than that. But I'm predicting that we're going to see a lot more from that this year, because I'm assuming that they have to include Pokemon in there somehow, or they're going to try to include Pokemon in there somehow, and the Pokemon RPG is going to be just that way of including Pokemon. So I think that we are more than likely going to get more information on that, and yeah, we're going to kind of see where that goes. Next up, I'm predicting new Splatoon and Mario Odyssey content. So, in the more recent months, Splatoon and Mario Odyssey have both been getting a large amount of DLC content, and I'm thinking that that is not going to stop going into E3. So, I am thinking that we're more than likely going to see more DLC come from Splatoon and more than likely Mario Odyssey as well. I'm predicting maybe some new costumes in Mario Odyssey and maybe a new mechanic, I don't know, but we'll see about that. But in Splatoon, I'm predicting maybe a new weapon or so, maybe some new equipment. But with like those two games getting a large amount of support in the form of DLC content, I'm predicting that more than likely we're going to see some more content coming from the Mario Odyssey and Splatoon series. And lastly, I think that we are going to see an update on the Dark Souls for Nintendo Switch release. So, leading up to Dark Souls release date, Dark Souls for the Switch was rescheduled. They went ahead and released Dark Souls for the other two systems, the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X. So I think that more than likely we're going to probably see an update on Dark Souls release date, and more than likely it's Amiibo as well. So I think that more than likely we're going to see an update on that and just kind of see where that project is going. And lastly, I have a couple of predictions for new titles that I really want to see come true. These are pretty much long shots for me, but hey, I figured I might as well throw them in anyway. So my first prediction for a new title is Animal Crossing for the Switch. So many people have requested Animal Crossing for the Switch, and I wouldn't be surprised if they announced it during E3 2018. So I wouldn't be surprised if they announced that as their big kind of heavy hitter, their big kind of unexpected thing that they've been working on. I really hope that's the case. I was a really big fan of Animal Crossing New Leaf as well as Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, so I would really like to see what Nintendo can sort of bring into a new Animal Crossing game for the Switch, which more than likely will probably be in its best quality ever for the series. So I'm very excited to see if this one comes true. Now this next one, and this last one here is a bit of a long shot. I am sort of predicting a new Paper Mario / remake. For the most part, Nintendo did seem to carry a sort of pattern when it came to releasing their Mario RPGs. They will release a Paper Mario game, then a Mario and Luigi game, then a Paper Mario game, then a Mario and Luigi game, and then the pattern just sort of stopped. And I'm just kind of expecting a new Paper Mario to come out sometime this year because of that pattern, and I'm really hoping for this one to come true. I know it's a bit of a long shot because I don't know if it's really gotten that much attention considering the sort of outlook of the last two, but I really want a new Paper Mario at this point. And that is it. That is all of my predictions for Nintendo this coming E3. If you like to keep up with all of my E3 content, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and also turn on notifications to stay up to date with when I post. I post Nintendo content every single Tuesday through Friday. And until next time, I've been Koops, you've been awesome, take care, and happy gaming.